but on the wrong champion. So he was saying that on Varus, if you went that build on Varus, you get you would get about initially with 10% CDR with the Essence Reaver, 10% CDR with the Brutalizer, and then you get 15% CDR from the Ionian Boots of Lucidity, and with 5% CDR extra from Mastery, you're sitting at 40% CDR, and you just spam arrows constantly. And once you turn the Brutalizer into Yomu's, what you sacrifice in attack speed, you'll gain it temporarily for team fights.
Right, and yeah, I can see that being a legitimate ban. And it seems like Anarchy, though, they are banning out Orianna, Karthus, Lulu, and Orianna may be target ban, but Karthus and Lulu, so they are banning out champions that trouble them. So they're saying that we're going to really secure win 2. We're going to go 2-0. Right,
and Anarchy played with the Lulu, and what we're seeing right here, at least with the Orion and Karthus bans, they're trying to lock out the zone control mages. But we'll see if but the Cassin first pick comes through for Team Anarchy. So
we're not looking for boosters. And you were saying?
Yeah, and then we see Team Anarchy first picking Karthus, and we'll see what Team REC's response to that is. And maybe we'll see a more AD-oriented champion, or, I mean, that Cassin pick, it could also go top, though.
Right, the top Cassin with the AD and Triforce build, I've seen it a few times. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the tank Cassidon build, it was kind of like what I originally thought it was going to be, but it ended up being a weird mix of like tank and damage. I think we saw that in the OGN Champions qualifiers with Duke from Najin Blackswood running it. And it seemed interesting, but it seemed a little bit wish-washy, the way he was playing it with the Triforce, and then he was hovering between tank and damage. So I don't know if that was them not taking their opponent seriously or it was a legitimate build that he was trying out, but we'll see if that Cassin goes into mid or top.
And Songyun just locking in the Jinx. I mean, I also watch a Songyun stream a lot, actually. I know him personally, too. He's actually a friend of mine. And he is so good on Jinx, and he is one of the players in challenger level, those challenger level 80 carries who first really started to go heavy with his Jinx, and he thinks Jinx is the best 80 carry in the game. And you know, I don't necessarily agree to that 100%, but Jinx is a very good champion.
Jinx is a great champion, and this could be that Anarchy is looking for either a team comp where they're going for the resets on Jinx, right? Jinx gets a kill or an assist and then gets a speed up, and then that just continually snowballs into like a further gives Jinx the mobility she needs to finish off the rest of the team, the rest of the enemy team. And Team Anarchy could be looking for a slightly like a pick-oriented comp maybe, with the Evelyn and Cassidon coming out of, the fog of war. And essentially, like Evelyn maybe from invisibility, Cassim from over a wall, and they could maybe go for that type of composition. But we'll have to see what their support and mid/top picks are here, and we'll see what they come out with.
Just to talk about Orianna being banned out a little bit, I'm a little disappointed, to be honest, because Orianna is my favorite champion in League after maybe Diana. But because I just think Orianna is the most balanced champion in League, but I am forced to talk about that Hecarim again from CV Max. Do you think REC will lane swap this time?
It's a possibility. Oh, he's swapping around.
Swapped into
but he's going for Rengar.
He is known for his Rengar too, and a lot of times he is very potent with his Rengar, and also it seems like one of CV Max's forte is roaming around the map looking for great opportunities, looking for weaknesses in the other team, and Rengar is a great champion to do that, right?
Oh, he's definitely a great champion. So as I said earlier, they could be going for a slightly more pick-oriented composition, right? They have the Evelyn coming out of stealth. They have the Rengar coming out of stealth. And then they have a Cassin that can come over a wall, coming from a long distance, and follow up on it. But Team REC's answer to that composition is they're looking for this is actually a lockdown comp that they're running here. So they have Google on Leona, very strong team fighting, very good initiations. They have Shyvana, which can come in from the back. And what Anarchy needs to watch out for is Jinx is exposed in any way. Google and Cube will be all over that Jinx. So they need to either protect that Jinx or be able to get more kills than. So if Team REC jumps on the Jinx and kills the Jinx, Anarchy needs to be able to answer with at least more than one kill.
And now that Google has picked the Leona, Google came into Nice Game TV the other day, and I was talking to him, and he told me that people are building wrong with Leona. That you should build AD with Leona, because Leona's skill sets are leans a little too much on the tanky side. So if you build AD on Leona, especially with the auto Q auto, she's very efficient as you build more and more AD. And I was saying that, can you do that? Would you do that in a competitive scene? And he has picked Leona right here, so we'll have to see what he's able to do with that, huh?
Well, because it's Google, I'll say he may probably go for the AD Leona build. Personally, not a fan, mainly because if Leona's strength is in being tanky with the Eclipse on aka her W, she needs to build those extra bonus MR bonus armor to make that even better. And what Google, and from what I gather from what Google's saying to you, he's saying that Leona already has those extra bits. It's already so tanky at her base that building damage is better. But the problem is, that's kind of a mentality where if you fall behind,
absolutely.
If you fall behind, you'll stay behind, and that's, I think, maybe a little bit of solo queue mentality coming into play.
And here we have an interesting thing. Like, according to their positions, which position gained the most first stats, and the top lane coming up way ahead with 14 first stats given up in the top lane. Not surprising due to lane swaps and top being the 1v1 lane and all. And 2 deaths in jungle, 1 death in mid, and mid being the really protected lane, so to speak, and the short lane also, right?
Right.
And AD carrying support's not dealing much there, but you're talking about top paths, but how can you not become a psychopath when you are in a lane that vulnerable?
I mean, it's less that the lane is, like, the lane, yes, it's much longer, and it's harder to get away, but I think this also has to do with the fact with we may be seeing slightly weaker teams playing, and I fully expect this statistics to change. Because you do see in champions, I think the most first bloods usually come out of mid and jungle most of the time. So we'll see if this changes as the tournament progresses. But I mean, it does make sense to see that top lane has the most stats. It does make sense, just because you'll see the top lane gets pushed out. It's just very vulnerable, and if teams pick things like Evelyn, even if you have a trinket ward down, you won't see it coming.
Won't see it coming. And just to talk about Google's Leona a little bit more, what he told me is that, okay, I said, well, don't you just become another AD carry? So you're not really being a support. And what he told me is, no, I actually built a Black Cleaver and then Zeke's Herald. So I help my AD carry, and I also diminish the armor on the other team. So in theory, I am a support. And I just had to say that, that just sounds like a lot of
this guy's cray.
This guy is cray. But we'll have to see whether he's able to do this in NLB. I mean, if he does it on NLB, I'll tell him, like, okay, like, despite the fact that you won or lost, that I'll okay.
If I see him pull that against a professional team and win, then I'll be like,
well, then that'll be something, huh?
Yeah, that'll be something.
I mean, if he beats like Samsung Blue with that build.
I mean, not even Samsung Blue. If they manage to take out a Jin Air team,
wait, are you saying the Jin Air is a bad professional team?
Historically, they haven't had the best results.
Right.
But if he can take down a a bot lane from a professional team with that build, I may be inclined to give him a little more respect. But right now, a little bit of doubt.
Right. Well, we'll have to see how it goes.
And it paid off.
And we get on the way, and Leona starts with the Doran's Blade. He will build the AD Leona build, and wow.
Yeah. Go Google.
Go Google.
This guy does not disappoint.
Right. And if I really hope that Anarchy doesn't lane swap against that, because I really want to see how that does in a 2v2 lane, right? In a traditional 2v2 lane.
We'll see. Right now, we're seeing kind of like the standard line of scrimmage from Team REC, and then we're seeing kind of like the same sort of line of scrimmage from Team Anarchy, except they have this huge hole right by the red buff entrance.
And right here we see the runes and masteries from Grigo's Leona, 10% cooldown reduction and 3% lifesteal. I mean, that comes from the Doran's Blade. And his AD is 79.
He also has a large amount of health. I think 700. I don't remember if you get 800. Yeah, you get 800 once you get the Doran's shield. But I mean,
we'll have to see, right? I mean, we'll have to see. Is that auto gonna do what he said it would do? And it seems like we will have standard laning, and they are spread out like they would usually in a solo queue. We've talked about how these matches are.
Well, it's less that it's solo queue, and it's more that they're playing safe.
Right, they're playing safe.
They don't want to start a risky level 1 fight and have that completely turn against them, and then like the game snowballs off.
Right.
They don't want that to happen.
Right. I mean, you don't want to risk doing that hefty level 1. You don't want to bank a lot on your level 1s when you're not like super practiced with that, right?
Well, I kind of expect to see maybe a more riskier level 1 come out in maybe game 1, but if Team REC, like, I was also thinking that if either team felt like they were backed against a corner, they would go for a little more riskier one-on-one, but I mean, they're just going for the safer starts, and here we're seeing standard lanes.
And right here, Google aggressively positioning himself, and they will contest for the early level 2s. And Jinx is known for lane pushing, but Lucian doesn't really fall that behind in terms of a lane push too, so it seems like they will get to level 2 about the same time.
Right, they're trading fairly evenly. I think with the way the waves are, Anarchy's bot lane will hit level 2.
But it seems like yes, and they will.
And they zone them out. So, Team REC's bot lane going to be a little bit behind. They lost, I think, 1 minion in terms of XP, but it's not going to be too big of a deal currently. They're going to hit level 2 off of this wave.
And now Sevilla actually moving behind Ziggs right there. Does Ziggs have his W? He doesn't, so this might actually burn a flash right there, but Lee Sin sort of thinking that this is the obvious next move, and he does reach level 3 safely, but one more from Sevilla, but the heal comes in right on time. And a great escape right there from Ziggs, but perhaps in this AD Leona we talked about, and him with the Doran's Blade lifesteal, but it's still not enough. Now Jinx's passive is on level 3 versus level 2. Lucian can't escape from this, and a double kill on Jinx, so AD Leona maybe not.
I mean, the Doran shield wouldn't necessarily have
helped him so much, right?
Because he was already in so deep, and like so darn deep that it wouldn't have helped. But we'll see if
and now Lee Sin is down too, but it seems like Sevilla will go for the dive. Good idea that he didn't, though.
No, definitely. They're just gonna back off. Jinx is ahead, and the Jinx will just kind of push this one more wave into the turret and then back to go buy items.
And it seems like actually you were saying that Doran's shield wouldn't have helped her so much. So it seems to me that it wasn't actually a problem with the build, right? Like they fell behind on leveling on lane, and it seemed like that.
Right, they got zoned. They got zoned a little bit. I mean, they were. I think they were even level when they started to fight. But oh, here we see a roam.
And here we see a roam here from Ziggs, but is he spotted? And CV Max is notorious for not having any wards. But how will they able to execute this though? What are you waiting for in a situation like this?
Cube wants to bait CV Max into a fight, right? But there's also the risk that CV Max will be able to burst him, like burst him a little bit. But
Lee Sin landing the Sonic Wave, and then CV Max flashing away, but Cube flashing and securing the kill. But Anarchy is 1,000 gold ahead, though. Where does the difference come from?
The difference is coming from Jinx, and if you kind of look at the CS difference that's building up, you see a CS difference building up between Kassadin and Ziggs, and that's mainly because Ziggs was kind of sitting at the top lane waiting for that gank. So it's probably mainly from those 2 kills and top. Yeah, so it's that 2 kills, slight CS lead, and we'll see. We'll see if they can keep the snowball rolling, because if they do, they're going to be a very good position, because they have a very snowbally team.
And also with Jinx having the oh, but the game is paused. But you were saying that they have a very snowball-y composition, and although your vocabulary is a bit atrocious, but I do agree with the notion that you suggest that also Jinx and Nami, Jinx with the extended range on her Q, on her rocket form on her Q, that she is very good at zoning out once she gets ahead, right?
Right. It's the same idea that you would run. You're going for the same thing when you're running let's say, a Nami and a Kog'Maw, right? Kog'Maw gets the extended range on his Bioarcane Barrage and goes for harass, a long-range harass with the Nami Tidecaller's Blessing, and then we'll get the extra damage and the slow, and it's a great trade. And Jinx can do something very, very similar with her with their switcheroo, essentially the Q.
Switcheroo.
Switching between the rockets and her minigun. So it's definitely a great lane combination. I like the Leona pick into it just because Nami is squishy, is fairly squishy. And the idea was that if they could have gotten level 2 first, they would have been the ones zoning out Team Anarchy's bot lane, and they would have been the ones in the more commanding position. But they weren't able to do that. So we'll see if Team REC's bot lane can kind of pull it together and have a better showing in team fights. I think that's probably going to be key.
So the dragon fights, those baron fights, I guess, and those tower siege situations. But I mean, these teams do love to team fight, right? And so perhaps if REC manages to, like you've said, gather themselves well and have a good team fight, this game is by no means over.
As long as they can get out enough vision, I think that was kind of one of the big problems that they had in game 1 was Google's refusal to buy a Sightstone until I think it was like 25 minutes in.
Right.
So if he can get the Sightstone in, if Team REC can get vision and control the map, and then they can set themselves up for more advantageous fights, then I think they can definitely pull out a win.
And the pause is taking a little longer than expected. It's said that something is wrong with someone's computer, someone's connection. And, given that this is an online event, only our finals are an offline event, there ought to be some connectivity issues, I guess. But both teams, I guess, they won't be so phased by the pause. I guess when you're, for example, like in OGN, when you're in the booth and when nerves are sort of taking over you, a pause could really just sort of break someone's mentality. But
well, it could give you the jitters a little bit more, or it could just give you the chance to shake off the jitters. I mean, it could go both ways. I've never been in an offline booth, so I wouldn't know.
I have never been in an offline booth too. I mean, I've sat inside it because I go to those kind of places, but never played a game there. I mean, I was never a member of SKT or Samsung.
I mean, if you were, you wouldn't be here.
Right. I wouldn't be here. Right.
But yeah, I mean, the pause can go either way. But I mean, these teams are also, since it's an online match, they're playing in a little more comfortable setting. Maybe I don't know if they're at a PC cafe or something playing this out, but they could be in a more comfortable area. And it's when you're playing an offline match versus an online match. Sometimes with those online matches, you're in a more comfortable area.
Right.
It could be less. It could be less kind of.
I mean,
give you the jitters.
Yeah, and I was talking to Expression the other day, and what he told me is that, I asked him, like, you are so good in NLB, you're so good in NLB, and we haven't seen the same form from you in OGN. Like, what is the difference? And he said that I'm not here to make any excuses, but in OGN they gave him only about 5 to 6 minutes to set up his computer, and so he couldn't get really comfortable in where he's playing. And whereas when he played an NLB, since it was an online match, he could play with the exact keyboard, mouse, computer setting that he is used to. So perhaps that is a factor, especially on such a high-level match where the difference between teams are so paper thin. I mean, we always like to make fun of IM or Jinner saying that how they fall behind all the time. But to me, from my perspective, the difference between SKT, Samsung, and Jinner and IM is very small. And in an event like that, jitters or computer settings, that may make a huge difference, right?
I mean, it definitely is, but you also have to take into mind that that's part of being what a pro gamer is. You have to be able to deal with that.
Absolutely.
And if you have the stronger mental fortitude, or as we Koreans like to say, just mental.
Right.
The mental.
Right.
If you have the stronger mental fortitude and if you can kind of work your way through that, I mean, it's just part of being a pro gamer, I guess. And I mean, as Expression said, he's not out to make excuses, but that is definitely a reason. And with the online matches, they're definitely playing in a lot more relaxed setting. So,
like when they pay you, you gotta suck it up, right? I mean,
oh, definitely.
I mean, with money, there are no money with no strings.
I mean,
there is no such thing as free lunch, right? I mean,
yep.
It's something we learn from, I guess, ManQ or. So I'm an economics major, you know, but that is the only thing I salvaged out of my years of studying economics, econ, that there is no such thing as free lunch. I don't think I really moved beyond the first chapter in Principles of Econ, but whatever. The word still rings true regardless, and the pause is taking an awful long time. I hope you guys aren't too bored with us just talking, but I think you guys will enjoy this more than us turning on ads, though. I mean, do you watch streams on Twitch often, Barry?
No.
No?
I actually don't.
You don't?
I watch a little bit of, like, the only times I've really watched streams is when someone new comes up and then I want to watch, like, Seraph, for instance.
Oh, Seraph.
I watched a little bit of the stream, but beyond that, I actually don't watch too many streams. I'd rather just play the game.
Play the game. Me too. But
so,
I watch streams because I work for Nice Game TV and I sort of have to study their streams and all that. But streams are always better than ads, though.
Oh no, definitely. Yeah. I mean, with the streams, I mean, you definitely can learn a lot. Like, there's definitely a couple of very educational streams. Skara is actually very good.
Skara, yeah, he seems like a really nice guy.
Very entertaining, very nice guy, very entertaining, and and people learn a lot from watching some of these streams. And I don't fault them for watching it, but I just personally learn more when I play it and make my own mistakes and learn from it.
You know, the thing about Skara, too, is like sometimes, a lot of streamers are known for their BM. I mean, I know a lot of streamers in Korea who would just swear on their stream, but when you see a guy like Skara, a nice guy, a wholesome guy, a homely guy, a guy with a good attitude, he's got class, definitely, and who genuinely seems to really have this great attitude, the scholarly approach to League. It's just a very refreshing thing, So I would watch a stream by Skara or something, and I would go to my solo queue and play Katarina. And I just get zoned out by Oriana so hard.
Well, you just can't blind pick her. So.
No, Katharina is not a blind pick champ. But, man, there are always those champions, though. Like champions like Katarina who aren't really that fitted to meta. But once you get ahead with that champion, it's just so fun to play with.
Well, it was a comfort pick. It was a comfort pick that I mean, it's a comfort pick for certain people. And I think the most recent one I think we saw Katarina in a competitive play was I think it was Pawn in Champions Winter, and he played it against SKTK.
Oh yeah, I remember that. They got rolled.
But that was less because the Katarina was a bad pick and more that Faker landed all of his spears as middle.
Faker is just, but there was a time when Faker was just. You could not contest with Faker, right? And that's how SKT won so many games that the mid lane was like, oh, but we get back into the game, and more about Faker later on. And whatever glitch there was, it must have gotten solved. And it seems like nobody was DC'd. Oh, Google actually got DC'd. But he is moving there right there. And so connectivity issues are solved, and we are back with the game. But Google is still getting zoned out, so he got DC'd, came back to the game, but he only came back to a menacing hell of a bot lane. This must be a very frustrating situation.
They are behind, and I think the thing with Google's builds is that they're great if he's ahead. They're great if he's ahead, and if he can get the Zenith Blade followed into I think it's called the Shield of Daybreak. I actually forget what it's called. But if he can get it into the stun, then he gets a lot of free hits, and that's a lot of extra damage that he can put out on top of the...
Ooh, CV Max may have overextended here, though. Shyvana surely can chase him down with her W. And questionable. There's a top path, you say, and that definitely is a questionable move from CV Max right there. Yeah. He just jumped at the minion behind Shyvana, knowing that Shyvana's Ignite is there too.
I mean, he was trying to go for a favorable trade, and I think he may have overstepped his bounds, but he might have also been going for like one of the 5 Fury, the 5 Fury empowered roar,
right?
And to heal himself up, maybe he was counting on that, but he didn't really think it through all the way, I guess. And I mean, Shyvana also hit 6 off of that, or maybe slightly before that kill. So yeah, questionable decision.
Questionable decision, and good idea for Lee Sin, I guess, to have camped out there, because if the bot lane got ganked, there is no way for them to really fall back. But now Lee Sin will hand the blue buff over to Ziggs right there, and Lucian just having such a hard time, right?
Yeah, no, they after that first initial level 2 trade, and they just can't get their footing back, and you see that Lucian's forced to back to base, and then he's gonna probably buy maybe another bronze blade, a longsword, maybe a longsword. Oh, he goes for the pickaxe, so he may be going for that same build that he went in the first game.
But and Sevilla is caught there though, but the Sonic Wave from Lee Sin have missed, but Kassadin being there, she will be able to erase the pink ward, and Sangyun right there farming, extending his farm. And Rengar, despite the fact that he has 2 deaths, he will go with the pickaxe.
Oh, this is terrible. Level 6 versus
level
4.
6 versus level 4. This is just atrocious. And the Jinx ultimate misses, but if that landed, that was a certain kill.
Yeah, that was a certain kill, and they are just Team Anarchy's bot lane is snowballing and just delaying that back, almost killing him with the
tidal wave.
So, not great.
Not great. And if the bot lane fall this behind, it means that, I mean, we could interpret that as just one lane falling behind, but this will surely lead on to Anarchy being able to go for the dragon much more comfortably, and they will have more vision control.
Definitely.
And this is something that Team REC has to remedy, and it seems like the 2,000 gold difference purely out of CS. And perhaps this is showing that Anarchy is a class above Team REC.
Maybe. It definitely could.
And Rengar has just cloaked. He will aim for Ziggs right there. Ziggs does have his flash, but the burst from CV Max, my god, the pickaxe seems like a decent choice now.
Yeah. I mean, he's going... I think he's probably going to build that pickaxe into a Tiamat, and we could see the Korean version of the Ryan Choi build.
Right.
We could see that happen in this game, but he's feeling very comfortable. He's feeling very confident. He died twice, but he's not gonna let that get him. He's not gonna let that get him down. He's gonna make plays in other lanes. So we'll see if he's going to. We'll see if he's able to, make the 2 deaths not really count. It doesn't, it won't really matter, and he'll just keep on getting gains elsewhere.
And Evelyn has slowly moved to the bot lane, but they do suspect that he is there. And Google actually roaming to the top lane, trying to create something right there. And
it's a decent idea.
It's a decent idea right there.
Like, he's going to a lane that's already winning and helping it lane even further, instead of going for a feudal fight against the bot lane that's already
that they can't beat.
Yeah, they can't beat them, even with jungle.
And right there, the Zenith Blade on CV Max. This is a certain kill, so Shyvana's advantage over Rengar will extend, and Google does level up to level 5. So good choice, right? But they will give up the dragon here.
They will give up the dragon because they show 2 people at the top lane. And if the support's not there, Team REC loses their biggest form of engage. So they just can't contest this.
Right. And let's look at the item difference between Jinx and Lucian, though. Double Dorans and Boots, pickaxe on Lucian, but... So Lucian is an entire BF sword behind Jinx.
Yeah, not a good situation. I mean, after the proxy farming that Anarchy's bot
and right here, Jinx, Ziggs is definitely dead too.
Oh, yeah, he's up.
Right, and when the lane matchup, they keep harassing CV Max right here, but CV Max already having 4 deaths. We can't really call this worth, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to get wins where they can, right? Basically, VMAX is Team Anarchy's weakest link, and if they can keep him down and get the Shyvana rolling, the Jinx will actually have a very, very tough time against the Shyvana. If the Shyvana gets tanky, dives into the back line, gets a Blade of the Ruin King, and just sticks on that Jinx, then Team RC could potentially win team fights. I mean, it's still a huge gold lead. At 12 minutes in, they have an almost, I think, right now it's a 2.6k gold lead, which ballooned up into a 3.3K. So,
and the solar flare though, but Nami flashes out of it well, and had that landed, it would have been a certain kill, I think, but they did burn the flash. It was an exchange between an ultimate and a flash. But the Sonic Wave on Nami right there, it's gonna be an insect right there, but the bubble landing on Lucian, halting the damage dealing, and Lucian may have taken in too much right there, and Google probably won't be able to escape this. And my god, one more auto from the minion, Google escaping by... actually not escaping, and Render just swiping up all the kills. Shyvana coming there to back up, but nothing much to do there. The global goal lead just starts to widen more and more.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to snowball, Frank.
It's starting to snowball. And it seems like the vision control that Team Anarchy managed, just look at the number of wards they have on the enemy jungle.
Right. I mean, the fact that CV Max, I mean, he has 4 deaths, but he also drew, you know, the enemy support top, he drew the enemy jungler top, and then he was able to draw a lot of attention on himself. But with his bot lane winning so hard, it doesn't really matter that he's dying so much.
And just look at the damage right there we've seen from CV Max. I mean, we see him get picked off there, but that much damage on a Lee Sin. If CV Max manages to jump on those champion without an escape, and we have Ziggs who's so vulnerable to champions like that, right? That 4 deaths, 5 deaths, who cares? Like, he has done his job, right? And Lucian, it seems like he can't 1v1.
Oh, he definitely can.
He definitely can.
With proper spell usage, he probably would have taken down Sevilla right there. He also had his culling, so he would have won that fight, and Sevilla wisely backed off.
Right. But back to what we've been talking about, though, that Rengar on CV Max, he is just almost stubbornly building attack item builds there, though. But it seems like he is very aware of the fact that, regardless of the fact that he has 5-6 deads, once he jumps on Ziggs or Lucian and takes about 80-70% of his HP away, that there are other teammates who can carry for him, right?
Definitely. And I mean,
we have a slight buffer here, though, but...
Yeah, definitely. If he can use his ult and he jumps on the Lucian, who's currently level 8 to CV Max's level 11? Or is that no, it's a level 10. So if CV Max is level 10, he still has a level advantage. He still has a decent item advantage. He will definitely do a huge amount of burst onto the Lucian. And if he can take out the Lucian, even though it's not really worth that much at this point.
You're right. But speaking of, we've been talking about snowballing, and speaking of snowballing, what item describes that better than that white book that Kassadin has?
I mean, the BM Stealer. Right. No, that's BM Stealer. Maybe the Manor Stealer.
Right.
Let's call it the Manor Stealer. So...
that's a fearful prospect, though, but just imagine that being 20 stacks. I mean, Kassadin would be unstoppable.
With extra, 15% CDR on the 20 stacks? Maybe, but...
And Jinx just being so potent, and Siege's just Anarchy. 7,000 global gold difference, 15 minutes into the game. They're snowballing this hard.
Yeah, they are definitely snowballing this. And the bot lane will definitely carry them to victory. The amount of pressure they put on the map. Like, Lee Sin has to make a tough choice. Like, does he go to, you know, shore up the bot lane, or does he go make wins in other lanes? And this is like kind of the classic dilemma that a lot of junglers face. Do I help a lane that's losing and maybe turn it back for them, or do I snowball a lane that's winning? And he's chosen so far to continue to snowball, like try to get more wins for Cube, like, and hopefully, and crossing his fingers that Cube would be able to carry them through. But it might not be enough with how hard Team REC's bot lane have lost.
And Tidal Wave here is securing, and sloppy right there. That was a very sloppy play. And Sevilla may have been caught here too, but they're not extending so far, fearing the Kassadin might jump at them. Very smart. And perhaps Team REC sort of lost the mind game with CV Max, and CV Max just audaciously drawing to him, telling them, come at me, my team will gain more. And it seems like they sort of almost fell into the trap.
Right. I mean, if the bot lane had gone even and CV Max had, like, the exact same thing had happened with CV Max, then I mean, Team RC could have easily taken the win just by continuously like just keeping CV Max down, getting the Shyvana nice and big. If the bot lane had stayed even, then the Shyvana would very well have been able to dive onto the back line and just been a huge nuisance. But that's not the case. Jinx has just too much farm on top of the Lucian,
Right.
and is a huge nuisance.
And they do take the dragon, but they may have positioned themselves really awkwardly right there. Evelyn actually holding herself in for an ample amount of time, and Shyvana just can't handle the damage from Jinx right there with the Infinity Edge and the Zeal. Just look at the damage right there, and the lifesteal from Double Dorans is actually enough to just a quadra kill on Jinx, and this was unexpected, right? We've said the bot lane is going to carry them into a win, and my god.
I mean,
that was just brutal.
702 and 155 CS, so he's doing very well for himself compared to the 133 and 100 farm of Lucian. So this game looks to be fairly over in Anarchy's favor.
Honestly speaking, right. I mean, my producers tell me that all the time, you know? The game might be over, but don't say that the game is over. But, you know, in a game like this, as a caster, it's really hard to cast these games, because I don't see any way of Team REC coming back, actually.
I mean, people have said that before, and it's happened.
It has happened. And my god, look at the damage from Jinx, though.
I mean, but even still.
She didn't even recall.
Right. And, I mean, that's a huge shutdown on the Jinx. 500 gold for a Ziggs. If Ziggs can stall out this game, if they can stop, if they can prevent... Oh, and we see multiple things happening on the map. Google went in on Nami.
And, my god. And Sevilla or Kassadin will surely finish this off. And, my god. Lee Sin forced the flash away from Nami. And Kassadin just building the Magi stacks right there. As Cube flashing in to finish CVMAX off, but it seems like CVMAX actually gains just by holding the well-fed Shyvana there in the top lane.
Right. I mean, it's keeping the attention there, but meanwhile, Shyvana's getting farm, and if... Oh, that was close.
Oh, that was close.
Oh, he stopped it. But he may die here.
Right.
Shyvana could take him out, theoretically.
Theoretically, but Shyvana actually choosing to escape, and knowing that...
He may go for a turn soon.
And the Tidecaller's blessing right there, and maybe a turnaround, but... Oh! Nami flashed into the wall, and the culling on Sevilla, but not quite reaching far enough, but another auto attack. Perhaps this might do it, and that was overconfidence from Team Anarchy, I'd say.
Oh, definitely. And, I mean, we just talked about it, and Team REC could...
Go for the Baron here.
No, they're not going to go for the Baron. I mean, that would be what we call the what do we call it in Korea? NA fun.
NA fun. Right.
But I mean, great flash from Sangyun. Great flash from Jinx to get out of the Eclipse, prevented the pick. But that's a good trade. I mean, all for the flash on the AD carry, they can convert that into a team fight win later. I mean, Team REC could, if Team Anarchy continuously overplays their hand and keep making mistakes, Team RC can definitely still pull this one out. I mean, we may have said that it's too early, that this game is over prematurely.
And you know, another fearful prospect though, that Jinx has completed her Infinity Edge and her Phantom Dancer, and it seems like she is gonna go for the Last Whisper. And Shyvana is building a lot of armor here, but once Jinx completes her Last Whisper and these items that...
Ouch.
My god.
That, the zap actually hit for
a
huge chunk of damage right there, and this just goes to show that the Jinx is very far ahead.
It is very far ahead.
Yeah, and he's going to take down that tower, and we'll see. I mean, it is possible for Team REC between the Lucians
and they are going for the Baron right here, confident. I mean, the jungler is dead, so this is the right call, and it seems like they will safely take the dragon. I mean, the Baron, and
they're going to check
with
the Ziggs ultimate, but they probably will take it here.
That Ziggs ultimate, they do check for the Baron. It seems like the ultimate just confirms their despair, right?
I mean. you can. There's always the 1 in a million chance that you could maybe
Right.
steal the Baron.
I remember in one of my games, solo queue games, one of our junglers got a dragon stolen by a Blitzcrank Q. So a lot of things could happen. And another pause,
Happens to the
but
best of us.
this will only delay their misery for Team REC, honestly speaking. I mean, they do have great lane clearance, so perhaps they could hold out with Ziggs. I mean, that is the way for them to come back into the game. Just hold out using Ziggs' lane clear for as long as possible. But the thing, though, is that Ziggs absolutely needs his blue buff, especially with the Grail nerf that came along, to be an effective lane clear, to do it over and over again. But Anarchy having so much map control, Ziggs, can he even get near his blue buff?
I mean, it would definitely be a tough prospect. But if he gets home guards and if he gets a home guards upgrade, and he can just flip in between, you know, the inhibitor turret and the fountain, then it's not too terrible as long as Anarchy keeps them bottled in their base. He can still sustain fairly well. But the problem right now is can he actually stall it out? Can they actually stall it out? Because if they can use the Ziggs to stall out the game and maybe get the game to the point where the gold differential, the huge 11K gold differential, if they can get the game to the point where that doesn't matter so much, it is definitely possible.
And Leona, actually, its Google have disconnected again. And this is just painful to watch.
I mean, well,
This is but honestly, that is inevitable because Lee Sin does need to ward there. I mean, he needs to gain minimal map control, and Anarchy is just so aware of that, right? I mean, this is the textbook snowballing
right.
you see here.
I mean, and we also see that Anarchy has just in general has much better. They just have better vision control than Team REC, and we saw that in the previous match. And that was a little bit due to Google not
And
buying.
my goodness, just the damage from Jinx though. The ultimate not doing much, but just one auto attack from Jinx just hurts way too much.
Yeah,
and this is such Team Anarchy is just unforgiving. As Sangyun.
And here we go.
Right.
I mean, this is probably the beginning of the end. If they lose one inhibitor, is not like the end of the world, but they lose both is most likely over.
And one inhibitor when you're so far behind, it's just, my god. This is brutal.
Yeah, the Jinx using the Tycaller's Blessing with the switcheroo on using the rockets and just getting great damage. And they take 2 inhibitors, they can go for the lower Nexus turret, and they could probably end the game if they wanted to.
But the heal coming in, and Jinx, the lifesteal is enough for her to guarantee her survival. And her passive is procced there.
This is yeah. They're just kind of messing around. And Seville flashes the wall, and they just withdraw or Rinder going for more kills. He sees a juicy Lee Sin, but he's gonna back off. I mean, at this point, Team Anarchy is just, hey, we're this far ahead, and we're at this point too.
Oh my goodness, this is this is brutal.
All right then, and they are backing off. They are claiming that there aren't enough wards on the map.
Right, there aren't enough wards on the map,
and they're just backing off. Which they actually, all their wards have just expired.
And the item on the Sword of the Occult on Jinx. This is
pretty brutal. Pretty brutal.
And also,
Rengar. Rengar also
Magi
has the Sword of the Occult. So this is and
the Magi Soul Stacker on Jinx too. I mean, this is a little.
Yep. BM. Name of the game. It happens.
It's not something we want to see, to be honest. And
let's see. So could Team RC pull a win out? Now let's make some fantastical, predictions, or like maybe like things that could happen. Let's go delving into our fiction writing a little bit. So could Team RC pull this out as a win? What they would most likely need to do is just, as I said before, stall it out with Ziggs, but barring a huge error from Team Anarchy, I don't really see it happening.
And it seems like they want to secure the win. They're pushing into the enemy base.
And they're going to send, it looks like they're sending CV Max to the top lane to get that pushed out so they can take the third and final inhibitor as the final nail in the coffin. But
And my god, the full hit from Lucian's culling actually does less than 2 autos from Jinx, and my goodness.
done. Done. There we go.
Right.
So let's talk about more pleasant things. Like, actually, not the weather in Korea, because the weather in Korea right now has been
Pretty
raining cats
brutal.
and dogs.
Right.
Like the Rengar, the cat in this case. And now they're going for the fountain dive. So, and they're going to get kills. So,
Right.
I mean, what would really complete if they start dancing around? But
Right.
hey, the win goes to Team Anarchy, and they will advance to face Zenix.
They will advance to face Zenix Storm, and Zenix Storm is a tougher opponent than Team RUC.
Oh, definitely, by far. But Zenix Storm did look very shaky in the